Welcome to my channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. This is a pick a shell reading for the sign of Aries. I'm going to list 3 different shell readings, and once you pick the one that resonates with you the most deeply, please pick it out, and then I will meet you at that video. All right, seashell number 1 for the sign of Aries. All right, what I have for you is the Page of Pentacles in reverse and friendship. So what I'm feeling is that you may have been investing not too much, but just enough to make some of your familial relationships, workplace relationships, and romantic relationships work. However, I feel that what you were putting into it maybe wasn't your best because you really weren't invested. All right. And so you can kind of see where you fall in that based on the context of those relationships. All right. I feel like you were looking in a different direction because, it sounds cliche, but however you were engaging, it just didn't make your heart sing. You didn't feel like you could spread your wings and fly. All right. I'm hearing birds of a feather flock together. So I keep getting all these very cliche statements. So I feel like you just might have thought it was very cliche. You just thought in general, the way in which you were engaging with these people, the way in which you were interacting was just very cliche. All right. And, if this is a workplace or even a family situation, or romantic, it may have just been because you didn't really connect with those people, and you might have had a history of having maybe even some toxic interactions. And the way that I see this is, sometimes the people that are supposed to be the closest to us are the people that are in our circle because we're either related to them or we're tied to them in some way, but we really don't have anything in common. Maybe don't even really like each other, but because society says, or, genetics say that you're supposed to be connected in some way, you're kind of in these bonds with people that just are not supportive of you and might just make you feel very not at home in yourself. All right. I feel like some of these, whatever these relationships were, they may have actually made you feel like you had to sacrifice a lot of who you were in order to fit in. Maybe you had to lower your standards, like your spiritual standards. I'm seeing like you had to let go of some of your morals and beliefs in order to fit in with the collective group that you were in. And it made you, you might have felt like you had to do that because you are a part of this group, or because if you want to be here, if you want to be in this space, you have to show up like this. In a workspace, that could look like corporate culture. You might want to wear, flaming green tights, maybe that's something that you just really like, but it's your corporate place. Like you can't, you have to wear a full tuxedo and, alligator skin shoes and whatever. And, it's just, that's the kind of stuff that people are in. And so in order to fit into that, to keep your job, to have some way to take care of your finances, you can't wear your neon green tights. All right. And wearing that tuxedo keeps you your job. It takes care of the stuff and the material. But internally, on the inside, it's like you're a bird that's stifled and you just can't fly. And so, I feel like you have decided that you are wanting to sever this vow to go without true connections, to not be in alignment with what you feel, to go against your own nature in order to be who you are. Let your spirit shine or your soul shine, And in doing so, you will attract others who are also doing the same thing, particularly when it comes to spirituality. All right. Because when you do this, like you'll be able to attract people who are on a similar path, or at the very least, if they're not on the same path, they will respect the path that you are on as a fellow traveler, and they won't try to hinder you or cause you to not be on a specific path because it doesn't align with what they're doing. All right. So I feel like what you're doing right now is you're judging things according to how they feel. Like you're balancing, you're weighing out your options, and you're looking within yourself to see, how does this resonate with me? Does it resonate or does it not resonate? And based upon that, you're deciding how to move or not move going forward in those types of relationships. So let's read the message for what do you feel? Okay. It says, my choices flow easily from my heart, and I tread my path with certainty and grace, always within the merciful protection of unconditional love. So be it. All right. Your peace oracle that you have is nature. All right. Nature. I took a walk in the woods and came out taller than the trees. Henry David Thoreau. Pebble, mountain, dewdrop, ocean. Breeze, tempest. Shifting, changing, renewing. Growing, remembering, healing, letting go. A stirring melody calls from deep in the earth. Feel the undulating harmonies, the rippling airs, the whisper of falling leaves, the pulse of a billion heartbeats. Nature is a living song. Hear it and sing along. A problem will resolve itself if left to run its natural course. Step away and take a break. Rest and recuperate in nature. Spend time away from technology. My skin, breath, ears, and eyes absorb the world around me. The trees, the ocean, the sunshine, and the bird song are part of me. The moon, the rain, the earth, every living creature shares space with me. We are inseparable. I breathe in nature. Nature breathes in me. All right. That is what I have for seashell number 1 for the sign of Aries. If this is your last video, then I may hopefully see you in the future. If not, then I will see you on the next video. All right, seashell number 2 for the sign of Aries. All right, so it looks like you are in a phase of starting over. You're starting a new life. However, you're either overcoming some type of addiction or some sort of deeply toxic connection or attachment that you may have had. And I feel like this is kind of in the past. This is something that had consumed you before, and I feel like it just got out of control. It got so out of control that it just kind of burned everything down that you were in. I feel like it was a very fruitful situation, whatever the situation may have been, but some of the negative, more toxic influences that were taking place just caused it to become this all-consuming fire. So I feel like it's good to have passion about something, to be passionate, and having that proper balance of that is what makes our life kind of worth living, you know. It could be our source of inspiration. It could be the thing that allows us to kind of flower and be able to be our best self so that we can be the best self that we can be for ourselves and others. However, when it gets out of control, sometimes the only thing that can happen is for it to be completely transformed and destroyed. And so I feel like that's what happened. And once that happened, I feel like, there was some type of healing that took place to kind of put that fire out and make space for new things that want to come into being. I'm picking up that this may have even been necessary because what it was that you were passionate about and what you were trying to make happen may not have been the best thing for you. And so, therefore, that was the natural progression of things. Okay. And I feel like you've grown as a person on a spiritual level and so on. I feel like you're more in alignment with your intuition and what you want to see, how you want to see yourself living life, and that's what you're moving into with this new beginning. So, one of the things I feel like you're hoping is to be able to take your experiences that you've had and use them to help other people who may have been battling the same things. I feel like you had to really overcome a lot of obstacles that may have caused you to not be able to previously feel like you could do that. I mean, I feel like you just weren't really clear. You didn't have a lot of clarity in your life. And there may have been some confusion, but now you're able to like receive the messages that are going to lead you on your best path. Like you can hear your inner conscience being your guide, because I feel like maybe before you had drowned it out to the point that it wasn't, it's not that it wasn't there, but that you weren't sensitive to it. And so it got you into a lot of trouble because you were making choices. I feel like you might have even been inspired to make these choices based off of influences around you, and they weren't really in alignment with who you were. But because you couldn't hear your own conscience, it couldn't be your guide. I'm thinking about like Pinocchio. So you may have even felt like you weren't like a real person. Like you felt like you weren't a real boy, a real girl. You were aspiring to be, but because you didn't always listen to your conscience, it was there, but you weren't always listening to it, you would get yourself in trouble. And because that happened so frequently and to the point where everything kind of had to be transformed and you had to kind of rebuild yourself from the ashes, you now know what you could do to help other people who may have gone through that. And when we're talking about Pinocchio as wanting to be a real boy, remember Geppetto was his maker. He didn't have like a sense of knowing where he came from, even though he was made by Geppetto and that was his creator, his maker. He didn't feel connected. And the sense was that they were different. They're made of different things. So in your childhood, you may have even felt that. You may have been adopted or a foster child, or maybe one of your parents weren't there, or you didn't feel particularly connected with your family. And so you always had this sense of not really belonging or not knowing where your place was or what your role was in the bigger scheme of things, just because you didn't feel connected. And I feel like this process that you've gone through, maybe even getting into, addictions of some sort. It could be to alcohol or drugs to kind of help deal with some of that pain. Getting through that has put you in a space where you can help others to overcome that, and you would be an inspiration to them. Because if you don't have role models or people who have really gone through what you've gone through and can speak to that, then it's difficult to know that you have a way to come out of this darkness and into the light of being who you are. I mean, I feel like there's lots of people who are, they coach people, they mentor people, they inspire people, they speak. And because that's so prevalent these days, it could be difficult to find people who have really, really gone through some things that maybe you don't even want to talk about. And this is not to say that you should just go spill all your beans and tell everybody everything, but there is some, inspiration capital in knowing that somebody has gone through certain types of things that are maybe so bad that they don't even feel comfortable talking about it, and knowing that they made it through. All right, it becomes an inspiration to those individuals who also might have inner shame. I'm picking up shame, maybe just this sense of feeling like you're not a real person. I mean, I feel like you can dissociate too when you have trauma or you have something that you've internalized, especially at a young age. It can make you feel so separate from yourself that you're not able to feel comfortable in your own skin, feel comfortable in your surroundings, which can lead to some very deep psychological imbalances, which can lead to things like addictions to try to fill those holes. Okay. Let's read about your card about inspiration. Okay. May my inspired idea be blessed by the creative intelligence and love of this universe. May the perfection of divine timing govern the unfolding of this idea into its most beautiful and fulfilling form. May this idea attract the most nourishing people, situations, and opportunities so that it may live out its destiny to make a positive contribution to the world. Through sacred genius, love, and grace, so be it. I commit myself, body, heart, mind, and soul, to that which will illuminate me with golden inspiration and uplift me and those around me with love. I am open to receive all the support and protection needed to truly honor this commitment. So be it. All right. And your Peace Oracle card is Choice. A people free to choose will always choose peace. Ronald Reagan. Balance your decisions against the weight of your heart. In the still of the night, when you are revealed, vulnerable, and alone, your choices and intentions keep you company. Peace cannot be forced, but alongside love, justice, and order, it can be chosen 1,000,000 times each day. An important decision with no guarantee. The choice is more significant than the outcome. The best choice is not necessarily the one that appears most right. Stand by someone or something you love. I am defined by my responses, not my challenges. I am my deliberate actions, not my struggles. I am my unerring hope, not my doubt. My choices are empowering and nurturing. Love fuels my decisions. I choose peace, consistently, lovingly, and boldly, 1,000 times today. All right, that's what I have for seashell number 2. If this is your last video, then I may hopefully see you in the future. If not, then I will see you on the next video. Seashell number 3 for the sign of Aries. So it looks like you are being recognized publicly for overcoming some tribulations that may have been holding you back. All right. I feel like whatever it was, there was this sense of kind of being the underdog. I feel like you were the underdog, really kind of slept on. I feel like people didn't take you very seriously. It could be that you didn't have a lot of funds, or I'm also picking up like your true self or your true talent, your true creative expression. All of that wasn't really seen by people around you. And so you were prematurely judged, I feel, based upon that. And kind of overlooked and kind of, I'm almost picking up like the Cinderella story. More so from the sense of like you were forced to do things that, I don't want to say we're beneath you, because, we need people to clean. We all have to clean. We all have to do like the basic things. But I feel like you were being forced to do things for other people that they didn't want to do for themselves, because they deemed you as being beneath them, that you should do it for them, when in reality, if that was a just system and a just way of doing things, and there was an order set up that way, in a fair way, then they would be the ones that would be doing that based on the content of their character, based on their actual skill set, based on their actual way in which they show up. I feel like people were operating on airs, like they were running on airs about who they were. And because you did not fit the bill of that, you were not being recognized as being, like Cinderella became royalty. She went from being the lady who was working in the ashes, and she always had ashes and soot on her, so that's how she got the name Cinderella, to living in the palace and becoming a part of the royal family. But the other side of the story was that she was always a well-to-do person. Now, she wasn't in a palace, but her family was wealthy. Her father was wealthy. She was raised a certain way. She experienced a loss that made her appear to others as if that's where she was. And she was placed there superficially by others who knew her origins. They knew where she came from. They knew what her role was. And by a unfortunate event, there just so happened to be a transfer of wealth and affluence. So the people that were actually treating her poorly were the people who were supposed to be the ones, maybe not working in the ashes, but it was her house. Like, that's the whole thing. Cinderella, with all that was going on, it was her house. It was her inheritance. That was her stuff. The only reason that she lost it was because somebody had kind of placed themselves in there, and instead of doing the right thing by her and making sure she had what she was supposed to receive, they placed themselves as a middleman and took what little bit she did have. All right. And then they not only took what she had, but they made her beneath everyone else in the home. But it was her home by blood right. But I feel like whatever the situation is for you, you are being recognized as being someone who rightfully should receive whatever recognition. If not some type of promotion or some type of public praise, it's more so just the actual visual and mental recognition of your true place in whatever social zeitgeist it is that you're working with. All right. This could have been some type of hobby or thing that you were doing on the side. Maybe you were having to work and do a job that you didn't really enjoy, but you needed to do it to pay your bills. But then on the side, you were working something else. And, maybe you're being recognized in that, oh, wow, this person actually has talent. Or, oh, wow, this person is really good at this thing. I never would have thought that because they're working at McDonald's, or, they're working as a mechanic, but they're also on the side, making oil paintings and taking them to museums. Like I said, it's not to say that one career or one vocation should be elevated above another, but it's just that when you're talking about this individual, whatever the perception is of the people around them, they viewed them as being less than because of what they did and did not appear to be doing. So, I feel like you are a person who has learned the value of simplifying your life so that you can focus on the things that mean the most to you, regardless of what it looks like around you, regardless of what the people are saying around you, and how they're making you feel about yourself and how you fit into the social structure. I feel like you don't feel the need to keep up with the Joneses. Okay, there could even be that. It could just be that you've always had this thing, and because you're not a flashy person, or you're not a person that's, trying to woo and make people feel as if you are, so at whatever level they are, by trying to impress them with material goods or things like that, or status and things like that, symbols of that stuff. You've learned to really focus on the things that give you the most joy. And you don't feel the pressure of needing to align yourself to energies or beliefs that don't align with that. And so, because of that, you are able to dream a beautiful dream for you. So, you're living the life that you want to live for yourself. And you're resolved to do that. I feel like you're not allowing any kind of conflict or competition that you may have experienced to get in the way of this reality that you've fought hard to get into. In another one of my show readings, I talked briefly about how you could be a billionaire, and if you have a sense of lack, like you're not going to have something, or like you're not going to be able to keep it, or you can't enjoy it, then you're really no different from the person who has $2 in their bank account and they're afraid about how they're going to eat. Now, if you're a person and you have $5 in your bank account and you're not worried because you know that you can always get $5, if you use that $5, you'll get 5 more, then you are actually quite wealthy compared to people who are not feeling that way, because you are always going to be in this abundant energy of you will always have what you need. You'll always be able to get whatever it is that you need. Okay. So the card that I have for you for your Sacred Rebels card is Dream a Beautiful Dream. So let's read that. The perfect harmony of beauty awakens within me and all around me. I serve that golden light in unconditional love and creative power. The Peace Oracle card that I have for you is Resolution. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. Nelson Mandela. There is tension in peace. Conflict comes and struggles arise. That is the way of the world. Peace is an ability, not a state of being. Meet your challengers as equals. Their needs are your needs. Peace, love, and hope. Opposition is an opportunity to deepen understanding and strengthen alliances. Counseling or meditation or mediation. Seek to understand and then be understood. Satisfaction comes from putting a matter to rest. An adversary becomes an unlikely benefactor. Know where you cannot bend. I release the need for power, control, or domination. I have no time or need for them. I am courageous in my desire to give love, to seek love, and to be love. I pursue peace relentlessly for myself and for the world. Together, we are beautiful. We are peace. All right. So that's what I have for seashell number 3. If this is your last video, then I will hopefully see you in the future. If not, then I will see you on the next video.